Let me show you how dangerous birds actually are. During the Rwandan genocide, something truly terrifying happened. Not just physically, but psychologically. On the radio, through radio television Liber Desmai Collins, one group of people was no longer called humans. They were called cockroaches. Again and again and again, neighbors were not seeing neighbors anymore. They were seeing pests. When you see a pest, you don't feel empathy. You feel just justified to eliminate it. That's how reality changed before even a single weapon was picked up. Now think about this. What if you say to yourself that you are lazy, or you say, I can't, or this is just who I am? You're not describing reality, you are programming it. Now, I'm not saying that your words will create something so extreme, okay? But the mechanism is the same, okay? And it's not just about that you describe with your words how things are. You literally shape your reality with your words and how your brain filters reality, how it perceives it, okay? And the good news is that you can use that for the positive, right? To create the reality that you want. Okay, so now let me give you an example. In the past, I was very often seeing this word. This is one of the worst words from my perspective that a lot of people use subconsciously. And I was very often when I thought to change, I very often told myself I can't. Okay, I can't. I just can't. When I was at the beginning, and it was about going out of my comfort zone or trying these new things like meditation or a lot of other things, I was still telling myself very often I can't. And one day this shifted, and I started to tell myself I can. And I told myself either I can, and instead of I can, I told myself also sometimes just I don't want to. I don't want to. Because then I have a choice, I'm in power. I can choose to do something if I want to or I don't, right? And this shift changed everything because out of nowhere, things that were impossible for me started to be possible for me. Before that, I told myself I can't. Things were impossible for me because what I can't, right? So it's nothing to do about here. But once I realized, okay, I actually don't want or I want, now I realize, okay, so I can choose to. If I prioritize that enough, boom, I can change it. I can make things talk with people I've never talked before, about things I've never talked before as well, right? And that's how I meet new people and, the journey continued. But it shifted a lot of things over time because things that were impossible for me started to be possible. That means it's possible for you too, right? And this is one thing of the video that I want to tell you. Realize when do you tell yourself that you can't? When do you tell yourself that you can't, right? And when was it that maybe in the past it was not true? Maybe you are forced to do something, and maybe in school or somewhere. But then you realized, okay, wait, I could do this. I can do this. When was it that you were doubting it, but maybe you were forced, and boom, you still did it. So you underestimated yourself, right? Question that, find examples for that, and change this word of I don't want to. Then you're at least in power, right? Find beliefs, find examples why actually it's an I don't want to. And you can want. If you prioritize that, right? You can just change your priorities. I want to say also this point. So this is one of the worst words. If you change this, things that were impossible for you become possible. So observe that when you think that and start to shift that because you can just choose different words, right? So at the beginning, I want to say at the beginning, we're actually not just words. So in the past, we could not even communicate, right? It was actually sound, to be precise. It was sound. Babies talk in sound. And back then, when we had no language, no official language, we were also communicating with sound. So it's not just words. It's actually the message, the intensity, the intention, right? There's a funny thing I can tell you about. So I was born in Russia, and my uncle told me that he found out that in Russia there are like over 3,000 meanings for the word sukablad, right? So you can say the same fucking word. And by changing your intention, how you perceive it, boom, everything changes. It has a complete different meaning. When you have doubts, when you have a doubtful voice, instead of thinking so serious, think like you play a role, like you're in a comedy. When you now start to think about it like in a funny way, even with a funny expression like, I can't, so what? Right? Then your subconscious will perceive it as not real, right? Like it's unreal. We are not really doubting here. It's actually just fun. If you do it for a couple of minutes, your state starts to change. You'll perceive it like it's just fun. It's not real, right? That's how you can play with sound and language and intention. Okay? So it's all about intensity. The baby doesn't say much, but you can feel the intensity of love, right? Babies don't have precise words, but they make sounds sometimes, right? These little sounds. So now I challenge you, choose your most terrible word, a negative word that is really annoying for you, that fucks you up. And usually it appears like every day, or it can be a sentence. And now question that, whether the sentence really makes sense, whether it's really true. Question, is it really true? Was it already true in the past? Is it also true for other people? Are people maybe with same circumstances still don't believe in that, what I believe? And then upgrade it, right? If you say yourself maybe that you're lazy, then you can say, instead of I'm super disciplined, you can make a bridge like, okay, I'm on the way of improvement. I'm improving myself. So I'm not lazy, I'm improving. I'm in the phase of improvement. Okay, so upgrade it to the next level, or choose the opposite belief. From I can't to I don't want to. From I should to I choose. I choose, and find evidence for this new belief, for this new word. Find more confirmation why you can choose other words. Okay, and by that you create a new inner voice, new words, right? New inner voice, new sound over time. If you say it also with more intensity, your subconscious will believe it. Focus on the sound, how you say it to yourself in your brain, right? In your mind. If you say the new word with more intensity and the old words with less intensity, it's less believable. The bad words less believable, the new words are better believable, right? So you can change everything. This sound comes from your ancestors. It was your karma, right? It's your wiring from our ancestors. How we perceive reality was given to us further, but now you can change that. So that at its core, the sound is actually pure energy that was given to you. So basically, it's energy that tries to interact with you. And then you reflect it back from the inside out, and it creates your reality. So if this video helps you now, right, then subscribe to my YouTube channel and comment below what is the new word that you have chosen, or maybe what's the old word that you won't use anymore, right? And yeah, I see you next time. Bye bye.